Um, so watched the season finale of Last of Us last night. For everyone's kind of understanding of what kind of review this is going to be, I have played the original game and I've played the second game before this came out. So I already came in with an understanding of um, how the story was going to be structured relatively, um, and like I knew what was going to happen in a way. Um, my first big thought about the whole show was I actually think they did a lot of segments better in the show than they did in the games. And I'm going to talk about it a lot. Where I really think that Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog really took advantage of the medium they were presenting this story in, and they really just improved upon what was already a really good story and made it what I think better. Um, I know a really big chief complaint was like not a lot of action and stuff like that. Um, and I think that's fair, a fair complaint to have, considering what the show is based off of, right? I mean, it's based off of a video game. You're going to expect some action. Um, but I also think it's really easy to forget how mindlessly dumb a lot of the action sequences in The Last of Us are. Not like mindlessly dumb, but I mean it's Joel, taking down like 200 dudes in like a single area. Um, and yeah, it is a video game, so like it is normal for that to happen. But it's hard to suspend your own disbelief when you're watching it in a TV show. It's a lot harder. So I think they handled it as best they could. I still think it's pretty valid that there probably should have been more um, action. Like I was I'm gonna talk more in the end, but I think they do a really bad job up until the last couple episodes of painting Joel's true character. But I'll go into that later. So the first things I really wanted to talk about was Bella Ramsey. I think was the absolute best part of this entire show. Um, I think even Ashley Johnson coming in at the on the last episode was like really cool. And it was cool to hear her act and like, oh fuck, like it's Ellie, like this is so fucking cool. Not everyone knew that, but some people did, right? And it's nothing to really like brag home about if you did know about it or whatever. But yeah, she did like super good, Ashley Johnson. But I think Bella Ramsey's performance as Ellie was actually like the best performance of Ellie, period. Um, like it would probably go Bella Ramsey in season one, Ashley Johnson in part two, and then Ashley Johnson in part one. And I really think Ashley Johnson nailed it, or Ashley Johnson, Bella Ramsey nailed it. And I think even I'd have to find the article. I'll probably paste it in here or some shit like that. But even Neil Druckmann, I think, said that they hit a home run with Ashley Johnson already, which Ashley Johnson was really good in The Last of Us 1 and 2. Um, and then they hit like a grand slam with Bella Ramsey. And I agree. I mean, I think Bella Ramsey did just such a good job, and every single time she was on the in a scene or something like that, she was the best. Yeah, and I think this is a really not a hard show to review like the acting. Um, it's more so it's only really focused on two people. Like Nick Offerman plays as Bill, and I remember when they first announced him, I kind of I didn't expect a lot more from him, but I expected to see him a lot more than we really would. And not like that's a detriment to it, but it's more just it's really a two character. This is a two character play, disguised as a TV show. You know what I mean? Um, it's really based on just Ellie and Joel, and then navigating the thing. So even though I think most of the acting was really good in the show, it really does highlight and show how well Bella Ramsey did, considering that her next cast member that was immediately next to her and shared the same amount of screen time was Pedro Pascal. And I know a lot of people have been on the Pedro Pascal hype train lately. Um, I really like Pedro Pascal. He was my favorite character in Game of Thrones. He's like the worst character to pick because he's like gone instantly. But I really liked him. I think he's a cool actor. I liked him in The Kingsman. I loved him in Mandalorian. I just think he's a dope actor. I pretty much liked everything he's really in. He was my favorite character in Game of Thrones. He still is, really. I mean, he just happened to get the shred of the stick pretty fast, but I don't think this is Pedro Pascal's weakest acting. I think for me, what it feels like is it feels like if the Mandalorian was from Texas and in a zombie apocalypse. And I know that's kind of like a meme, but I think there's some validity to that statement as well. Because I don't know how you don't see it. And it's not like it's bad acting or it's bad. It's more just I couldn't help but shake that away. And I just like some of his lines kind of like not fell flat, but I can tell there's probably a weird way of trying to keep the accent in there and then acting some of these scenes for him. And sometimes you can just tell. But other than that, really, I still think Joel, like, he was a perfect cast for Joel. I really didn't think he was going to be that good. I remember when they announced it was Pedro Pascal, and I really was like, I don't know if I'm going to like that. Like, he doesn't really seem like that kind of guy. But he ends up proving me really wrong. I still thought he was really good despite what I'm saying about him. Saying on Bella Ramsey, I really thought Bella Ramsey, she's obviously a very different looking person. Not like that's like a detriment to her or anything like that, but it does make you go in and be like, oh, she doesn't really look like Ellie, so like why would I want to watch this? But I think she did better than Ashley Johnson did. And so then going on into the story, it's hard for me to really critique it because I know the story already going into this. So my first thoughts of the story 10 years ago or whatever are going to be the same thoughts on my story on the story now, you know. So yeah, I mean, I still really think it's really, really good. I mean, I loved it the whole time. A lot of people, there's a lot of controversy, I should say. I wouldn't say a lot of people, but there's a lot of controversy surrounding episode 3 and episode 7, actually. And I thought episode 3 was super cool. I mean, the first time you see Bill in the original Last of Us, you don't really get anything else out of it. Like, you get some quirky dialogue, I guess, and he gives you some shit, and then you leave. And then I think he dies. I don't remember what happens right now off the top of my head, but yeah, shit happens to him, and then that's it. And then you don't really hear about Frank. You just know Frank unalived himself, and then that was it. So it was cool to actually see like how Frank is according to the game or the show. And you could probably make your connections to the game if you wanted to, but I haven't played it in like 2020. Last of Us 2 came out, so yeah, I played it 3 years ago. That was the last time I played it. Yeah, and then stemming from that, I mean, it's all the same, relatively same formula the entire time. Like, not much really changes after that, as far as I can remember. And that's not really a bad thing. I think the story as a whole was probably already better served as a TV show, more than it was served. Not more than it was served for video games, but I think you have the video gamey stuff that holds back the game, and then the TV show stuff that holds back the TV show. Like, they can't. It's not ever going to be in a perfect medium, because nothing really ever is in a perfect medium. There's always going to be some like gap where something could be better here, stuff like that. But I really think for what it is, it's phenomenal. It's blasting out of the water from like a typical video game trope kind of thing. Like, it's not the same video game movies like from 15 years ago or something like that. Where did my phone go? Did I lose it again? Here, buddy. You can't be doing this. Right on the thing. I think I lost my phone. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so we'll move to, I think episode 7 is the next really big one to talk about. 4, 5, and 6 are really good. I actually think Tommy is really underrated. I really like Tommy. You don't see him a lot here. You'll see him a lot more next season. I think if they're gonna do it the way I think they're gonna do it. I really like Tommy a lot too. I thought he was really good. Yeah, episode 4 is when they were in Kansas City instead of, I can't remember where they were in the game, but it doesn't really matter. That was a sick fucking episode. Oh my god, how did I forget? So I think they did the I think Henry, the little boy who played Sam was phenomenal. I mean, it was cool seeing like the after the behind the scenes shit afterwards and seeing that he was actually like deaf and stuff like that. And that was a new thing for the show. That wasn't from the game. And I think it was a really cool experience. It's very different. It added more to the episode and the show as a whole, just thematically, right? I mean, you forget in like an apocalypse sort of situation that blind people and deaf people still exist. You know, like they're not gonna just die. So it was cool seeing how he has to survive that and stuff like that. And like Henry was really good too. Oh my god, that scene is just so good, man. It's heartbreaking, dude. I hate watching that scene. It makes me so sad. I mean, it's just the show and the game originally already pull at your heartstrings so well, and I think a show just does an even better job at it because instead of like computer generated people, these are real people. And not to say you can't feel anything in the game, but seeing it happen in like a live action sense, it's always a little harder, man. And that shit hits a lot harder. But it still hits hard regardless, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think those episodes were awesome. A lot of people, I don't know how some people felt about the Kathleen stuff. I thought it was cool. I liked seeing like a face to just the random raiders instead of just being like, oh, these are just asshole raiders. And they're not really raiders, but you know what I mean. And that was a dope episode. Those are a cool series of episodes. And yes, and then they go to Tommy's. I'm gonna sound corny as fuck. I actually didn't watch that episode. So this is a really bad review, and I probably should have watched it before the season finale tonight, like I did with episode 8. But I kind of know what happens. Like he goes there, talks to Tommy. They do all that stuff. So if this voids my entire review of the show because I didn't watch that episode, that's fine. I'm kind of just doing it for me, so I don't really give a fuck. So yeah. I know they go to Tommy's. I know they start heading to. I know Joel gets hurt, and then obviously the episode 7 and episode 8. So episode 7, for anyone who is coming here from just watching the show and not playing the game, that was actually an expansion, not an expansion, but an episode in the show, in the game, that was added after the game was released. So the game was released in 2013. I looked this up yesterday, so Left Behind. So Left Behind was released a year later. So none of us really, anyone who played the game didn't know about this stuff while they were playing the game. And I think they do a phenomenal job of just seamlessly going into it. Because I think they do the same thing in Left Behind, where it is when Joel gets stabbed. Also, Joel falls onto glass, I think, in the game. You have to fact check me on there, but I know he doesn't get stabbed out in the open. They're in an area. They're in like a building. And so then I think Left Behind takes place the same way they do it in the show, which is really cool to see. A lot of the stuff in the show is like almost picture frame by frame. And anyone who's probably watched the show and is on Twitter or something like that probably has noticed that oh shit, like fucking, what am I saying? Anyone who's watching the show and is probably on Twitter is probably seeing people post like, oh, this is how this scene looked here, and this is how this scene looked here. And so it's super dope. It's cool. It's really nostalgic for me to see it. I've been a fan of the series for like forever. Me and my friend Matt were basically like big fans of this shit. I remember when it came out, we were both, I'm pretty sure we were in like 7th grade, maybe 6th. And I remember talking about it the first time it came out. And then Last of Us 2 comes out, and we're both like, holy fucking shit, dude, let's go. So it was really cool watching it. It was sick. I really liked seeing it. And then, So yeah, they do Left Behind episode super good, and again, Bella Ramsey fucking murders that episode. Like she kills it. She goes so insane. She goes dummy. She goes stupid. I thought it was phenomenal. I really like Bella Ramsey in the show. I really think she was the best part. Like people want to talk about Pedro Pascal, and I'm gonna keep doing this throughout the review because I really like Bella Ramsey, and I think Bella Ramsey was absolutely the best part, hands down. Like nothing else is better. The scene in episode 4 or 5, just randomly thought of it when all the zombies come out of the fucking hole. I thought it was 100 times better than anything they really probably could have done there. Because I think normally just a couple random zombies come flying through after you kill a guy and you're fighting some of the resistance people, and it's cool. Like in the game, it was super cool, right? Because it was brand new, so it was sick. It was cool, and they could have easily just done the same thing, and it would have been fine. But seeing them all come out of the fucking ground, super sick. Oh, with that, I actually do want to talk about how they handle the zombies. You know, actually, I'm going to do a story thing. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. I'm going to do a story thing first, and then I'll talk about the zombies. So yeah, Left Behind happens. Super great episode. I was super drunk when I watched it, but I still remember really enjoying it. So yeah, really enjoyed that episode. Bella Ramsey kills it. Ellie is just phenomenal. And then episode 8, wow, I really fucking love that episode. I love that part in the game, and I think they just nail it in the show. It's pretty frame by frame perfect. Like I remember exact scenes. Like even when she's in the cage, I was like, dude, this looks exactly like the fucking cage. Like I don't see any differences. I'm gonna have to do like a swing back. Maybe I'll replay Last of Us on stream, and then go into Last of Us 2 probably. Just to kind of refresh my memory now after watching it, because now I just want to experience it all again. It was so good. It was so good. But yeah, and then that episode is just insane. And yeah, it's super good. I mean, it's still just as good. Damn, now after seeing it, it's hard for me to say the show did it better. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think you have to look at it on its own because it's its own take on the show or on the game. God, I just think Bella Ramsey does such a good job of this. So does Ashley Johnson. It's hard for me to judge it. Episode 8 is such like one of those masterpiece episodes where there's nothing to complain about it. I think the whole thing is good. Oh, the Joel scene. The Joel, when he's interrogating the two guys, did exactly how I wanted to do. Even up to the point where it's like, it's okay. I believe him, and just takes him out. It's so good. Yeah, fuck. I love that episode. Super good. It's hard for me. I'm not trying to turn this into a comparison of the game or the show is better. I just think there are some things where naturally, yes, it is going to do better than the game, or yes, the game is going to do better than the show. Right? Does that make sense? Just kind of, I think just naturally how the mediums are going to work. Like television is better at. Just a bunch of, I can't even think of it right now. Television is just better from a cinematography point of view. It's obviously going to be. It is only a film, while the game is an actual game. So it's like there are gameplay elements to add to it. Even the story elements in the game can be added like through gameplay. So it's just a lot of different shit like that. So it's hard to. I'm trying to just paint it so I'm not. It doesn't sound like I'm trying to put one as better than the other. It's more just getting the comparisons between the two, if that makes sense. So let me get to episode 9. This is actually my second take of the video. I made one immediately after I watched the last episode. So I was super hyped. I only really said good things about it. I had to do some like reading online, look at some things about it again to get my full take on it. And it's still pretty much the same. A lot of people said they thought it was rushed. A lot of people said they thought, I think rush was the big thing. They wanted more action or something like from it. But I think the way they handled it was actually really good. I think a lot of people wanted to see more of like the havoc Joel causes outside of the perspective of Joel, if that makes sense. I also really want to see Abby in there. At least I know it's very easy to hate on the MCU right now, and everyone's pretty much doing it. I did want to see a post-credit scene with Abby, like, really bad. just to see how some people's reactions, and I wanted to see it because I like Abby a lot. I really wanted to see it. But yeah, a lot of people wanted outside the perspective of Joel, and we weren't gonna get that. Realistically, right? I mean, even it does a really good job. The show does a really good job of showing you that we're seeing this through a very angry, very pissed off, very determined Joel, up to the point where the Last of Us song is playing, and you hear like the I can't even remember what it's called, but like the audio isn't very clear, up to the point where like you hear gunshots, and then he starts reacting and gets back into it. We are experiencing this whole thing through Joel's perspective. And I would be shocked if they didn't go back next season, if they're going the route of straight into Last of Us 2. If they don't go from the perspective of showing how it was for everyone, not everyone else, but just Abby, and then like probably clearing up for the doctor and stuff like that. I can never remember his name. So again, anyway, with the how people were mad there wasn't more action. They were more mad that there wasn't action throughout the whole show. I think it was better that way. I didn't really care about seeing. You can watch The Walking Dead or something. I haven't watched The Walking Dead, so don't crucify me for talking shit on it. But there's a bunch of shows you can watch where they have a lot of action. I don't really care about that. I was cool with just seeing. All right, now that we're done, basically the whole story. Yeah, I mean things happen. I think they handled it really good. I really liked Ashley Johnson's portrayal of her mom because we never see that. So that was cool. It was cool to see. It just adds to it, right? It makes it seem more human, right? So it was really good. I liked it. The last episode did feel rushed still to agree with most people. I do feel like the last episode was super rushed. I just think it's you forget how fast the story of Last of Us is. Like realistically, you could probably beat it in like 10 hours, right? That is a lot of story, but it's filling that too, because even a lot of the episodes are pretty short. Like even the season finale was only 49 minutes or something like that. It's a short story. It's not very long, so it's hard to tell if it either feels rushed or they just already hit everything they wanted to hit, so they were like, okay, let's just end the season. I don't think it's that bad as people are making it out to be, but it definitely was rushed. So with that being said, where was I going with this? I really wanted to get into talking about some of my critiques of the show now, and this is more like the story-wise and like directing point of view. I'm going to be having some. I'm not even going to guarantee I'm not going to spoil The Last of Us 2 entirely. So, if you haven't played The Last of Us 2 or you've only watched a show or something like that, whatever it is, I don't want to spoil your experience. So I'm going to leave a little pause. Feel free to leave. Thanks for watching the video. If you're leaving, leave a like. We can talk in the discussions. I won't spoil nothing in the comments. I can't talk for other people though. Yeah, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I really love this series. So I have no problem talking in the comments about it if anyone has any questions or something like that, or if they just want to talk about the show and the games, if they like the games too. Yeah, feel free to just leave that shit in the comments. With that being said, I am going to get into probably spoiler territory. So I said earlier in the video, I really hated how little they showed how bad of a guy Joel is. Because as a whole, the audience is going to love Joel. I still love Joel. I still think he's a horrible person. But I mean, I love Joel. He's literally like he's like the perfect dad figure you want to see in a TV show, right? Literally sacrifices the entire world for what he thinks is his pseudo daughter, right? And I was really pissed at the show at first because again, they're setting themselves up for failure, and I get they probably don't care. And they just want to show. They obviously have shown a very strong commitment to being as close to the source material as possible, but I think Last of Us 2 still has a lot of flaws. Despite how much I actually like it more than the original, I think the pacing is probably one of the worst parts about it. I won't go into too much detail as much as I can, just in case, just whatever. I don't know, but I think the pacing is horrible. I think the idea of it is awesome because I always forget, like, I don't always forget, but like you tend to forget what the two games are supposed to be about, right? Like Last of Us 1's about love, and then Last of Us 2 is all about revenge, and you fucking notice it like immediately in Last of Us 2, and I get they do want to keep it the same. I think the original game does a great job of showing Joel is a bad person once you think about it. When you're playing the game and you're just killing random dudes, you don't really care. You're just like, whatever, these are random. I'm at point A, I need to get to point B. These video game obstacles are in my way. And so you get through it. That's it. What was I gonna say? You can't really have that in the show. You can, but I mean, obviously, you don't want it to feel video gamey. It is a TV show at the end of the day. You're trying to keep people. It's not gonna be exciting to watch Joel try to figure out puzzles and drop a ladder and carry Ellie and push Ellie up. Also, it was cool to see him push Ellie up once like that. I'm glad that was like the only time we saw it. Anyway, yeah, you can't really paint that picture as well. I think episode 8 and 9, phenomenal job at it, because up until this point, everyone has pretty much been a very clear bad guy. Like the people in Kansas City, yeah, they were like, I mean, she just on a blood hunt for Henry and Sam. And people's perspectives on Henry and Sam are only going to be good. It doesn't matter what you might think about the situation as a whole. I mean, I'm still like, oh no, I'm on the fucking Henry and Sam train. I like Henry and Sam. And so you're on Joel's side the entire time. It's not like you're sitting here like, well, he got his brother killed. Oh, but he did it for his poor son, his poor brother who is, blind or deaf. So you're going to be on his side the entire time. And, and he had leukemia. That's right. I forgot about that. So he had to give him medicine for leukemia. So it's like, you're throwing all the good things, not the good things, but you're throwing all these things onto this kid. So fuck, I'm going to support this kid. Like, what the hell? I'm not going to support these random ass people who are pissed off about it. So to the detriment of Joel's character is the shitty thing about that. Because while Joel is I wouldn't say good person, but if Joel likes you and if Joel cares for you, he's a great fucking dude. He'll go to fucking bat for you. To literally anyone outside of that circle, he is like the worst person in the world. It's just, he's a horrible dude, right? I mean, he kills anyone he wants for his survival. I mean, again, this isn't like some bashing on Joel as a character, because this is also the reality of their situation. This isn't me saying I hate Joel, because I fucking love Joel. Joel's a sick ass dude, but you have to be aware that he is a bad person in the eyes of many people. Not many people as in terms of like real life, but in the show, right? So yeah, and I think they do a really bad job of painting that until the last 2 episodes. I just don't know if it was enough to kind of deliver what they want to be said in The Last of Us 2 that they do. I think they do an okay job. They do a great job in doing what they do in Last of Us 2, and they do a great job of explaining that he's bad in Last of Us 1 during Last of Us 1, the game. And I just hope that the show is able to reflect that pretty good. And then just fixing the part 2 pacing issues. Other than that, I love the show as a whole. I thought it was awesome. Thought it was amazing. I really don't think much could have been improved. I think there are some parts where I'm like, oh, the show did 100 times better than the game. Some parts I'm like, well, the game obviously did this a lot better. Like even when they were walking to the hospital in the episode 9, I think I remember you're in a tunnel and most of it's underwater, and that was cool. I wish we could have seen something like that, because once you see him walk out of the tunnel, you're like, oh, like, I remember where that tunnel goes in the game. But, I mean, I get it. You don't want to pad, which is meaningless violence. I think that's what one of the directors or writers or something said, that if the violence didn't push the story forward, they weren't going to include it, which I think is fine. I don't think there should be a reason for most people to complain about that. With that being said, I think it's a 4 out of 5. I recently, when I talk about TV shows, I compare it to, how do I explain this? Recently, when I talk about TV shows, my big benchmark is Game of Thrones season 4. I still think that's like the best television I've ever watched to this day. I think it's phenomenal. The closest that's really come to that is The Boys for me. Binge watched that all in like a day. So I really like The Boys. I really thought it was amazing. Um, and Last of Us is probably right below that tier. I think when Last of Us 2 comes out, it could push it up depending what they do. I think a lot of people are going to be a treat. If anyone here is still watching has for some reason not played The Last of Us 2 and they're still here, or if you have played The Last of Us 2 and you're still here or whatever, I think we can all agree people who haven't watched or played the games, they're in for a ride for part 2. So yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Like, subscribe, all that good shit. I'm out. That was it.